All right, we're going to start off with basically our top story, and that is Ricochet. Ricochet, 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 Ricochet. How many times I said Ricochet? I don't know. But Ricochet was in hot water this week, and as you guys all know, Ricochet, he left WWE, and he ended up going to AEW, and he basically took on this new heel persona. And I'm going to say this right here and right now. In terms of Ricochet's run in AEW, I've been pretty much enjoying his run in AEW. Some people do not like his heel work. Other people like his heel work. You got to admire the man for at least trying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he when he was in the WWE, everybody constantly gave him flack about how he couldn't cut a promo, all that stuff. He at least in Ricochet in AEW, like, he's trying to bring out some character work, and I appreciate that. It's also, it's not, it's also known that Ricochet tends to be a little crazy on social media, especially with this new heel persona. He wants to, in a way, keep kayfabe alive and be in character when he's on social media, and he wants to do the good old MJF shtick. But I'm going to say this right here and right now. Not everybody's MJF. I don't think Ricochet's even trying to be MJF. And MJF does a lot of heinous things, in terms of kayfabe. Ricochet, on the other hand, Ricochet, like, MJF actually, like, sees a limit, in terms of his heel character. He does a lot of heinous things in kayfabe, but he at least sees the limit, in terms of his character. And he tries his best to really not go over that limit and not cross that line. Ricochet, on the other hand, didn't even realize that there was a line that there could have been that there could be crossed, and he crossed that line. Ricochet crossed the line, no pun intended, in terms of his tweet earlier this week. The situation was so bad that TMZ themselves, yes, TMZ, of course, these people love, writing and reporting, a lot of crazy situations involving celebrities. You guys know TMZ. Everybody knows TMZ. This situation was so bad that TMZ reported this whole thing. And if TMZ has something on your ass, you're in hot water. And Ricochet was definitely in hot water this week. I'm reading this, as I stated earlier, on TMZ. Ricochet, yes, Ricochet, tells a woman on X that he is, quote-unquote, glad she has MS. And then he issues an apology. AEW star Ricochet is facing a ton of backlash this week after he told a woman he's glad she's battling multiple sclerosis, leading the wrestler to share his regret over the statement. The exchange went down on March 16th, when the woman appeared to be criticizing the former WWE talent's acting abilities. The woman stated this, and I quote, "His acting," or a bunch of laughing emojis, "his acting hasn't improved." And then Ricochet replied at 10:56 a.m. on the 16th of March, 2026, "I'm glad you got MS." Ricochet then apparently went to her page and then read her bio, which shared a motivational line about her experience with chronic autoimmune disease, because his response made a reference to it. And then, of course, it states the tweet that he stated, but I already stated it. Ricochet's insensitive comment has since been deleted, and the woman went private on X. The wrestler had an apparent change of heart the day later, as he issued an apology. And he stated this, and I quote, "I took out my hatred for the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community." God, I hate that term, the Internet Wrestling Community, the IWC. It's crazy. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I have multiple YouTube channels. The other one, not just this channel, the other one related to wrestling, WrestleHavoc. I try my best not to call the wrestling community the IWC because it's such a small niche and it's embarrassing. The community as a whole is just cancerous. But he stated this, and I quote, Ricochet, that being, "I took out my hatred for the IWC, that being the Internet Wrestling Community, on Sandy, and inadvertently others who are affected by MS. She didn't deserve it, and for that, I sincerely apologize." Ricochet ended his message by vowing to do better moving forward. This actually got him in a way in hot water. In a way. Wow. Getting Ricochet in hot water in a way. I don't know. I can't believe I said that. Again, I am super tired, but like, man, words are just randomly flowing through my head. This got Ricochet in hot water. And no, not in a way. But Ricochet got Ricochet in hot water all over social media. All over social media, people were upset about Ricochet for his comments. A lot of people were rightfully upset about Ricochet's comments. It got him in hot water in AEW, I assume. And apparently reports were coming out that they were glad that, Ricochet apologized. Everybody was creating but everybody was talking about how, the media didn't report on it. I could care less about that because at the end of the day, the dirt sheets will always be the dirt sheets. And, the dirt sheets, you got to always take the dirt sheets with a grain of salt because they always tend to embarrass themselves. But it is what it is. This is all about, this is not about the media. This is about Ricochet. This whole thing it should not be stemmed around the media, even though a lot of people in the wrestling space think that, the media is in Tony Khan's back pocket, which in a way, if you watch the media scrums, you can understand why they think that. If you watch these media scrums, some of the questions that the media asks is quite honestly embarrassing. Quite honestly embarrassing at the end of the day. So it's understandable as to why they think that. But I'm going to be talking about Ricochet and Ricochet only because there is a certain line that you cannot cross in terms of acting as a heel. And I understand you want to make the people hate you, but sometimes being a heel, especially outside the ring, will only get you so far. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I appreciate Ricochet's effort into being a heel, and I've been enjoying a lot of his work. I think he's vastly, trying to improve his character. My biggest issue with Ricochet is his social media. And I understand he wants people to garner a reaction. I totally get it. And hell, I was on this very podcast last year defending Ricochet and actually being on Ricochet's side when the whole Ricochet and Javon Evans social media back and forth dispute went down. If you guys do not remember, Ricochet and Javon Evans had a lot of back and forth to do on social media, and in a way kind of got Javon Evans in hot water, got Ricochet, and I don't want to say Ricochet in hot water, but a lot of people were defending Javon Evans, and understandably so, but at the same time, Javon Evans said a lot of stupid things as well. And he, in a way, took the bait and did what Ricochet wanted him to do, and that was engage. And a lot of times in the social media space, we call these types of people grifters. We call these people grifters, and we call them grifters for a certain reason. Whenever they say something super controversial, they want to garner a reaction, whether that is negative or positive. We see it all the time. Grifters are all over, not only on the wrestling space, we see it in any other industry, whether that is entertainment, music, movies. We see it in pop culture. We see it in politics, especially in politics, especially now. It's crazy. It's crazy. Grifters exist. They exist. Ricochet, in my opinion, his social media kind of reminds me of a toxic ex-girlfriend. That's, to me, like, after a year, well after, ever since he came into AEW, and look, I respect Ricochet. I'm a big fan of Ricochet. This is not me turning on Ricochet in any way, shape, or form. Look, I've always said this about people. You can like them all you want, but if you do not, notice their flaws, clearly you are in denial about any situation that is going on. Like CM Punk, for example. I'm a big CM Punk fan, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to kiss CM Punk's ass when it comes to everything that he says. Because let's be honest, CM Punk can be an idiot sometimes. Let's be real with ourselves. CM Punk can be an idiot sometimes, and he could be making the dumbest decisions possible. Like, the whole AEW fiasco, let's be honest, a lot of that stemmed with a lot of things around CM Punk, but like, come on, CM Punk kind of put himself in that situation as well. You know, you can like somebody, but at the same time, you can point out their flaws. I don't understand this mentality that, you know, because we like somebody, they are always perfect. And, oh my God, this guy's amazing. You know, he's amazing. He has no flaws. Everybody has flaws in the real world. Everybody has flaws. And unfortunately, Ricochet and his social media, in a way, embarrasses not only Ricochet, but it also embarrasses the promotion that he's with, which is AEW. Ricochet, again, when it comes to his social media, he sounds like a toxic ex-girlfriend who does not know when to lay off social media. And unfortunately, this instance with Ricochet, you know, saying, I'm glad you got MS, you know, got him in hot water, and rightfully so. If I'm Tony Khan, I'd probably suspend Ricochet. I would have suspended Ricochet. You know, I would have suspended Ricochet for the comment that he said, because it's a stupid comment. It really is a stupid comment. It really is. People say stupid things on the internet. People say really, really, really stupid things on the internet. But at the same time, this situation actually brought out the worst of humanity on social media. I'm reading this again from TMZ. Ricochet's wife, Samantha Irvin, targeted with death threats amid MS post backlash. Ricochet's controversial post telling a woman he's quote-unquote glad she has multiple sclerosis has had a major impact on his family. The AEW star's wife and former WWE ring announcer Samantha Irvin went on social media to deeply concerning messages that she has received amid the backlash. Irvin, who deactivated her X account after her husband's distasteful exchange, published several screenshots of DMs she's gotten on Instagram this week, with some users going as far as threatening her and Ricochet's lives. And she shows a bunch of screenshots of these I don't even want to call them humans, because these people are obviously like cancerous to society, in my opinion, but she shows screenshots of death threats. The original comment came after a woman criticized Ricochet's acting skills, and then he replied by saying, I'm glad you got MS. The woman followed up with, well, if that makes you happy, have a great life. While Ricochet was clearly in character, most wrestling fans say he took his role too far, and he apparently agreed because he later deleted the comment and apologized. And of course, TMZ, you know, says the statement that I already said. I took on my hatred on the IWC on Sandy, and they showed his apology. Ricochet and Irvin went public with their relationship in 2021 and got married in 2025, and they both worked at WWE and left around the same time when he joined AEW. Okay. When it comes to this situation, look, again, I'm not going to defend Ricochet in any way, shape, or form, because Ricochet, again, his comments were ridiculously stupid. Like, you cannot sit here and defend Ricochet. Again, he took it way too far in terms of what he said. Again, there's a certain limit. There's a line that you just don't cross, especially when you're acting as a heel. There is a line when you don't cross that you don't cross, and that goes to any heel in the business. Again, I think Ricochet needs to lay off social media. He was just very sounds like a toxic ex-girlfriend. That's how he sounds. And again, he's not only embarrassing himself, but he's embarrassing the company that he's working for. He's embarrassing the promotion that he's working for, unfortunately. You got to lay off social media, buddy. You sound like an idiot sometimes. Like I can vividly see like Ricochet would constantly, reply to like any, wrestler in WWE or like a Triple H, and like he would just go off. And I'm like, dude, I get it. You hate where you worked at before. I totally understand. I get your frustration, but like, dude, we get it. We get it. And unfortunately, his comments on social media sounded, it got him in hot water. But one thing I will say, and I talked about this, and I said this earlier, but This situation brought out the worst in people. And I think sending death threats to Ricochet's family members, especially his wife, is very, number one, concerning, but number two, like, it shows the lack of morality in people. And unfortunately, in the way of the world that we live in, you know, and it's not just with wrestling, it's really in general as a society, people love celebrating other people's deaths, and it's honestly very scary. We live in an age where people are celebrating other people's deaths, and you have people literally just out of the blue randomly sending death threats to another wrestler, a wrestler's wife. Like, what kind of world do we live in? You know what I'm saying? Situations like this bring out the worst in humanity. It does. It brings out the worst in humanity. And I'm gonna try to be a good influence and say this right here and right now. Anybody watching this, do not be like these people. Do not be like these people sending death threats, because number one, when you send death threats like that, it clearly shows that you are not a good human being. You're not a good human being whatsoever. Especially now, like, what good does it do for you for sending death threats like that? Like, you know, I get it. Ricochet's comments were horrible comments by Ricochet, and he apologized for it. Now, how sincere was the apology? I have no idea, but the fact that it makes, you know, people like these people go on social media and immediately DM his wife, immediately DMing his wife and just sending her death threats is honestly really disgusting. And us as people, we got to do better, because this is definitely not the way to go about things. This shouldn't be the way to go about things at all. It should not happen. Like, it should not go on like this. Like, it's honestly disgusting. Like, I'm speechless. Like, it's really disgusting. The wrestling community, like any fandom, any community, like any person, like doing stuff like this, stop. Because you're doing yourself no favors as a human being. And you're scaring people off like people scared off Ricochet's wife. I get it. Ricochet's comments were distasteful. They were 100% distasteful. They were. But that doesn't mean, like, it doesn't mean you should send death threats to Ricochet's wife over what he said. You shouldn't even be sending death threats at all. Again, we live in a society where people love wishing death upon other people. It's sad, honestly. The lack of morality in people in society today is baffling to me. People have a lack of morality, unfortunately. And it's a shame. It's a shame, and it's absolutely horrible, in my opinion. It's really, really, really stupid. Don't be like these people, because even though these people think that they're doing quote unquote good for people who suffer through things like MS, they don't care about that situation at all. They don't care. They only care about themselves. They only care about themselves. Do not be like these people. Do not be like these people sending death threats. And in terms of Ricochet, again, his comments were beyond stupid. And of course he was going to get put in hot water. If I was Tony Khan, me personally, I would have suspended him for a while. And, you know, like, this is a lesson for you to, like, get off social media and not say stupid stuff on social media. Like Ricochet really needs to tone it down on Twitter. Like, he really does. Like, his tweets on X, honestly, it's gotten to the point where it's just embarrassing. It really has been. But in my opinion, like, again, like, this is a severe case of people embarrassing themselves on social media and not knowing that they're embarrassing themselves on social media. Like, he only found out, like, the only reason why he apologized was because of the fact that he got himself in hot water. That's really the only reason why. And honestly, like, I think he made the right call in posting that apology. He did, but still, anything that you put on the internet will live in infamy. Anything you put on the internet will stay in the internet forever. It will. And unfortunately, nobody is going to forget that tweet that Ricochet put out. Nobody's going to forget about that.